Angelopoulos, Olivier Assayas, Bill August, Jane Campion, Youssef Shaheen, Cheng Kaiga, Michael Cimino, David Cronenberg, Jean-Pierre et Luc Dardenne, Manuel de Oliveira, Raymond Depardon, Atom Egoyan, Amos Gitay, Hosha Oshien, Alejandro González Iñárritu, Aki Kaurismäki, Abbas Kiarostami, Takeshi Kitano, Andrei Konchalovsky, Claude Lelouch, Ken Loach, David Lynch, Nanni Moretti, Roman Polanski, Raul Ruiz, Walter Salas, Elias Suleiman, San Ming Liang, Gus Van Sant, Lars van Trier, Wim Wenders, Wong Kar-wai, Zhang Yimou.
These filmmakers from around the world came together to make an anthology of 3-minute-long short films expressing their love for cinema theatre and cinephilia in general to celebrate the 60th anniversary of Cannes Film Festival in 2007. As you go on watching each film one after another, soon enough you begin to have the sensation of mise en abîme, which means the abyss. But as a literary or dramatic or cinematic device, the articulation is more like placed in the abyss. In a layman's term, it would be something like a story within a story or a film within a film, and that is what you basically get to see here, although each time their evocations differ wildly. However, one of these films really stands out, which does something simple but achieves something phenomenal. It extracts the true essence of mise en abîme, as it places the spectator between two mirrors, opposite to one another, creating an illusion of infinite reflections. It truly places you in the abyss. But before going there, let me just tell you a little backstory of how I arrived upon this. So I had seen this anthology few years back and I had kept revisiting it time and again. However, currently I still am working on a video essay on Tarkovsky's Solaris. The essay is intended to reflect upon not only the self-reflexive nature of cinema, but also what happens when the films themselves care to acknowledge it. So I was going through and making notes from tons of books and whatnot, but it wasn't really going anywhere. Apparently one thing led to another and I came across this essay by Francesco Cassetti, where he discusses about the very short film that I'm also going to discuss here, Artaud Double Bill. And although it traces me back to my original intent with the Solaris video, I still couldn't find a way to fit it there. So I decided to make a separate video, a companion piece, a little preparation for what is to come. Although Cassetti's essay is more of in a sociological/behavioral context, still, from some of his remarks, certain film theories can also be drawn. So in this short film, Artaud Double Bill, directed by Atom Egoyan, there are two characters, two friends, Anna and Nicole. They are supposed to meet up and watch a film together, but they end up being at two different cinemas due to circumstances unknown to us. At Nicole's venue, Egoyan's own film The Adjuster is being played, and at Anna's venue it is Jean-Luc Godard's 1962 film My Life to Live. And inside Godard's film, another film is being played, the 1928 silent French classic The Passion of Joan of Arc, which stars Antonin Artaud in a pivotal scene, which is also being shown to us through this short film. Further, the character Anna makes a live video for Nicole of the scene from Godard's film where the character Nana is watching The Passion of Joan of Arc. And in this particular moment, what we see here is a film within a film within a film within a film. But what's actually happening here is much more complex than simple replication of images. Although in terms of our sensory perception, all of us are looking at Artaud, but in terms of our intellectual perception, objectively only Nana watches Artaud, whereas Anna watches Nana watching Artaud, Nicole watches Anna watching Nana watching Artaud, and likewise, we watch Nicole watching Anna watching Nana watching Artaud. All happening at the same time, layers of subjectivity. We are not having the same experience at all. Also, only Nana gets to watch the real film and rest of us get to watch fragments of it. That too conditioned with our limited perception and our choices of action. Since Anna and Nicole are at two different theaters watching two different films, they are supposed to be having two different experiences in isolation, but they don't. They rather interact with one another through the hyperspace of internet. They are creating their own narratives juxtaposed with the narratives of the respective films they are watching, juxtaposed again with the films within those films. Also, in the film that Nicole is watching, The Adjuster, there is a similar scene where a character is watching a film, and both the characters in The Adjuster and My Life to Live are women. Both of them go through similar situations. Yes, they still differ with their contexts, but the concept of infinite mirrors is also not as simple as it seems. On one side, we have a glance of the past, nature of society in 15th century France, nature of films in 1920s, and the nature of film viewing experience in 1960s. On the other side, we have a glance of the future of film viewing experience itself, considering the radical changes that are happening. Then our association with moving images, conditioned with technological innovations, and our association with such technologies, and ultimately our relationships with one another. Now, what's common between an artist and art is that they are both signifiers, but they can only direct you towards a series of indicators, whereas the actual path has to be taken by you only. Be it in terms of the interpretation of a film, or be it in terms of simply on what medium you choose to watch the film, or how you engage yourself with moving pictures in general. Cassetti points out in his essay that these stimuli which ask us to refine our tuning and yet also force us to a kind of isolation from the world. In My Life to Live, the fate of the character Nena is signified through the fate of Joan of Arc, which is untimely and unjust death, as a consequence of the actions taken by the respective characters, conditioned by the society and circumstances of their respective times. Similarly, in Otto Double Bill, more than anything else, it signifies the death of cinema itself, as a consequence of cinematic evolution as a medium of moving images that earlier had conditioned its audience, now itself has been conditioned by them. Of course, films will still be made, but not in the same manner. Also, they won't be perceived as they used to be. And as long as we are talking about new media and whatnot, let's address something that we all love and admire: memes. A meme is an image, video, or a piece of text, typically humorous in nature, that is copied and spread rapidly by internet users, often with slight variations. We all know that, but what if I told you that's not the real definition? It's a redefined definition. The real definition of meme is an element of a culture or a system of behavior passed from one individual to another by imitation or other non-genetic means. But if we have a closer look, we'll find out that these definitions are not too different after all, except the part of being humorous and also the part of being rapid in a way. But what is rapid and what is not is a question of time. And since time is patented by Mr. Tarkovsky, we shall discuss it next time with the memes of Solaris. Having said that, if we just go back a little, back to the moment where we had encountered a film within a film within a film within a film, we'll see that both the definitions of the word meme can simultaneously be applied to the situation. An element of culture from the past is indeed being propagated as an act of conservation. At the same time, it is also being fragmented, and the fragments themselves are creating narratives of their own, just like internet memes. Cassetti also points out that these social networks also feed into the act of expression, which leads to the construction and exposition of oneself. It is on YouTube that social subjects have experienced in depth the pleasure of self-narration and the possibilities of marketing themselves. Oops. Anyways, the point is, I think we can all agree upon this, that although internet and new media have challenged the essence of cinema, at the same time they have also been able to preserve a large portion of cinematic history. A film like Passion of Joan of Arc, for example, could have not been accessible to present-day audience if not for non-traditional distribution. However, we need also to acknowledge that our relationship with moving images have changed forever. And due to this new relationship, we have given birth to new kinds of cinema. And the easiest way to check the validity of this statement is by checking the average short lengths of the films that have reduced over the years, and how films are losing their subjective integrity, as the narratives no longer mediate themselves through the basic elements of cinema such as time, space, and action. They rather mediate themselves through dialogues. By dialogues, I don't mean spoken words only. I mean a series of gigs or a collage of memes. And let's not forget that the film Otto Double Bill is only 3 minutes long, with a total of 37 shots, which makes the average shot length of 4.8 seconds only. In a way, the film mocks at its own characteristics, and that, my friend, is a strong sense of self-reflexivity, born out of the melancholy of cinephilia, fearing its own death, trying to be immortal, by suspending itself and us in this abyss of nothingness.
L'image, monsieur. seul capable de nier le néant, est aussi le regard du néant sur nous.